Welcome. Following are 3 rolling shutter examples we will attempt to correct. The first is a skew resulting from side-to-side motion. Second is a jello effect resulting from the micro-shaking visible when using a telephoto lens without image stabilization on a tripod. Our third test revisits the jello effect again, but this time resulting from sloppy, handheld footage at a wider focal length. Following is our original footage run through Virtual Dub's D-Shaker. Unfortunately, the plugin could not correct for skew at all. After Effects' Warp Stabilizer also failed to correct for skew, adding jelloized artifacts in the process. New Blue FX's plugin for After Effects is the first to successfully reduce skew, though not enough. What's more, its skew correction is a fixed percentage applied to any one clip, regardless if a shot has multiple variances in skew severity. Despite the notability of the Foundry's rolling shutter plugin, its skew reduction results were less than impressive no matter how much I tinkered with the settings per their instructions. Additionally, the plugin has a tendency to add this globby look to some frames which cannot be removed, rendering the footage unusable. Now, the Foundry claims that the strength of its plugin is its ability to correct for localized motion skew. Let us test that theory with this shot of a Dodge Charger police car. Note the skewed wheel arches and lettering on the rear door. Rolling shutter did live up to its ability to separate the moving object from its background, but at the expense of severe artifacts and too much correction. The correction is likely adjustable, but the artifacts are a constant issue regardless of settings. After these multiple failures, I was very pleasantly surprised by the results from Pro DAD's standalone Mercalli program. The skew correction is dynamic, and the loss to image quality very minimal. That is not to say that all skew was eliminated, but the motion correction and blur applied by Mercalli removes the overwhelming, distracting appearance of rolling shutter skew. With skew virtually non-existent in this shot, D-Shaker's results appear to be decent, though some jitter remains. The results with Adobe After Effects' Warp Stabilizer is less satisfactory, with extensive warping and needless out-of-scaling. New Blue FX's filter not only failed to do anything, it introduced slight skew to the footage by overcorrecting for the panning motion. The Foundry's plugin does correct for some of the artifacts, but it doesn't stabilize the footage. Mercalli shines once again here, as the footage has been rendered almost absolutely stable. The tiniest bit of warpage is present due to the tool trying to correct for the lens breathing while pulling focus, but is minute enough to be acceptable for most applications. Now we move over to classic bad handheld footage. D-Shaker finally lives up to its name and takes some of the shakiness out of the handheld footage, reducing the jello look. It's not by any means perfect and still needs to be cropped, but the tool did a fair job with minimal warpage, and hey, it's free. After Effects' Warp Stabilizer also does well, and though the footage appears more polished than D-Shaker, there's a noticeable amount of distracting warp affecting the upper portion of the footage, rendering it jello-y. Since this handheld test footage is not a panning shot with skew, New Blue FX's plugin doesn't do anything to stabilize it. The footage does appear to have some slight skew correction on it though, as it looks more like a CCD sensor capture than CMOS. The Foundry's plugin was completely useless on this footage, as it did nothing but add the same unsightly artifacts as seen in the skew correction tests. Mercalli's results were once again excellent, with a combination of stabilization and virtually no warpage. So there we have it. Practically speaking, Pro DAD's Mercalli is the best filter of the lot, and it'll remove some pretty nasty jello effects in addition to a certain amount of skew. Not even the free price tag of D-Shaker can compensate for the value of what one gets with Mercalli. Thanks for watching, and be sure to visit the Man with the 5D blog for a supplementary post on rolling shutter with a lot more additional information.